Welcome. You did not come here by accident. Be still for a moment. Breathe. What you are about to hear is meant for you. There is a tightness in your chest that started months ago and never quite left. Not pain exactly, more like pressure. The feeling you get when you have outgrown something but have nowhere else to go yet. You sit in rooms that should feel like home and find yourself counting the hours until you can leave. Conversations you used to enjoy now leave you restless. Words come out of your mouth that sound right but feel hollow before they finish landing. You laugh at the appropriate moments and then wonder on the drive home why none of it touched you. Something is wrong, or at least that is what you keep telling yourself. Because this disconnect between your outer life and your inner reality has grown too wide to ignore. The job still pays. The relationships still function. The routine still holds together from the outside. But inside, everything feels like wearing a coat that shrunk 3 sizes without anyone noticing. And you cannot shake this strange grief. Grief for what you do not know. Nothing died, nothing ended, yet you mourn something you cannot name. As if a part of you already left a place your body still occupies. What if this discomfort is not warning you that something is wrong? What if it is preparing you for something right? Before God expands a life, He often makes the current one feel unbearable. Not cruel, just tight. He loosens your grip on what you are holding by making it uncomfortable to hold. He stirs holy dissatisfaction in places you settled into too deeply. He creates space for the new by making you restless in the old. This is not punishment. This is preparation, and it rarely feels like blessing while it is happening. The bigger thing coming for you will not arrive with trumpets. It will be sensed first as pressure, as restlessness, as the strange ache of standing between chapters with blank pages in both directions. Let me show you 6 signs that what you are feeling is not breakdown, it is expansion trying to begin. Number 1, your tolerance for shallow things has collapsed. Conversations that skim the surface exhaust you now. Entertainment that once distracted you feels empty before it even finishes. You find yourself craving substance in a world that keeps offering you noise. And the people around you do not seem to notice the difference. This frustrates you. You wonder when you became so serious, so difficult to please, so unable to just relax and enjoy what everyone else seems satisfied with. But Amos 8:11 speaks of a famine, not of bread or water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. What you are experiencing is spiritual hunger being mistaken for social dysfunction. Your soul is starving for depth because God is preparing you to carry weight. Shallow waters cannot hold what He is building in you. The intolerance is not arrogance, it is capacity demanding to be filled. Number 2, doors you counted on have quietly closed. Plans that seemed certain fell through without explanation. Opportunities that had your name on them went to someone else. Paths you mapped out in detail have become inaccessible. And no matter how many times you retrace your steps, you cannot figure out where you went wrong. The confusion sits heavy. You did everything right. You prepared, you prayed, you positioned yourself exactly where you thought God wanted you, and still the doors remain sealed. But Isaiah 22:22 reveals a truth hidden in this frustration. When God opens, no one can shut. And when He shuts, no one can open. Those closed doors are not failures of your effort. They are the sovereign hand of a Father who saw what waited behind them. What felt like rejection was actually protection. What looked like delay was redirection towards something your current vision cannot yet perceive. Number 3, relationships have grown strangely distant. People who once felt like permanent fixtures in your life have drifted. Not through conflict, through something quieter. A slow fade that left you standing in rooms that used to feel full and now echo with absence. You reach for connection and find politeness instead. The depth you crave meets surface-level responses that leave you lonelier than silence would. This aches in ways you have stopped trying to explain. Because explaining requires words, and the words never capture the weight of being surrounded by people who no longer see you clearly. Yet Ecclesiastes 3:1 holds something for this very moment. There is a time for everything, a season for every activity under heaven. Some people are assigned to seasons, not lifetimes. Their departure does not mean you failed. It means the season that held you together has completed its purpose. What feels like abandonment is actually the thinning of your circle before its deepening. Number 4, a restlessness has settled into your bones that nothing satisfies. You have tried to fix it, changed routines, started new projects, sought new environments, but the restlessness followed you into every new space. It does not seem to be attached to any particular circumstance. It lives beneath circumstances, a low hum of divine dissatisfaction that refuses to let you settle. Part of you wishes it would stop, that you could just be content with what is, that peace would return to places it used to live without effort. But Philippians 3:14 speaks of pressing toward the goal. That pressing creates discomfort by design. You were not built to stand still. The restlessness is not your enemy. It is the engine God installed to keep you moving toward what your current position cannot provide. Comfort would stop you. The agitation propels you. What feels like affliction is actually holy momentum. Number 5, you grieve things that have not yet ended. There is a sorrow sitting in you for a life that still technically exists. You mourn relationships while still in them. You miss places while still occupying them. The grief arrives early, as if your spirit already knows what your mind has not yet accepted. This premature mourning confuses you. Nothing has died, yet something inside you has already begun to let go. You wonder if you are sabotaging your own contentment, if something is wrong with your inability to simply be present where you are. But John 12:24 offers another interpretation. Unless a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it produces much fruit. The grief you feel is not destruction. It is the dying that precedes multiplication. Your spirit is releasing what your hands still hold, because the releasing must happen internally before it can happen externally. Number 6, you sense something coming that you cannot prove or explain. There is a knowing lodged deep in you that defies logic. No evidence supports it, no circumstances point toward it, but something inside you is certain that this is not the end of your story. That what you are walking through is hallway, not destination. That the tightness is temporary and the expansion is coming. You feel foolish admitting this, even to yourself. Hoping for things you cannot see, trusting impressions that have no foundation in visible reality. But Hebrews 11:1 calls this faith, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. That quiet knowing is not wishful thinking, it is prophetic perception. Your spirit is detecting what your eyes have not been permitted to see yet. The certainty you carry is not naivety. It is the gift of sensing what God is building before the construction breaks ground. So where does all of this leave you? Standing in a season that was never meant to be permanent? Feeling the walls of your current life pressing inward because you were made for wider spaces? Carrying discomfort that is not punishment but preparation? Grieving what is passing so that your hands will be empty enough to receive what is coming? The smallness is temporary. The tightness has purpose. God always enlarges the interior before he expands the exterior. He builds capacity in secret so that when the bigger thing arrives, you do not collapse beneath it. You receive it standing. You carry it without breaking. And when it comes, it will not feel foreign. It will feel like home, like finally stepping into a room your soul always knew existed, but your life had not yet found. Philippians 1-6 carries a promise that blankets this entire journey. He who began a good work in you will carry it to completion. That completion includes this uncomfortable middle, this waiting, this stretching. All of it is the work, none of it is wasted. You are not stuck. You are being shaped. If this spoke to where you are standing right now, leave a comment below with the words, "He is preparing me." Let it be your declaration over this season, your agreement with the expansion already in progress. And if you want more messages for those being shaped in secret before expansion, subscribe here. There is more coming. I believe you were meant to hear it.